You're listening to the Black Directory Podcast, where we focus on bringing Black entrepreneur experiences to the forefront. Each week, we will discuss the highs, the lows, and everything in between. I'm your host, Diamond Young. Let's dive in. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Black Directory Podcast. I'm your host, Diamond Young, and how's everyone doing? I feel like it's been a little minute. I've been really trying to practice. I think we talked about this in a few episodes ago, but just self-care. I actually went to see some family, my dad, some grandparents. I went to Birmingham. That's where my dad's side of the family is, in Birmingham, Alabama. So I hadn't been there in like 2 years, so that was just really necessary. I don't know if anyone can relate, but the past few months, and I guess you just have to listen to that inner voice saying, oh, I miss my family. Oh, I need to go see my family. Dang, I miss my family. And I just wanted to make sure that I did that. But besides that, I did something else really cool. I just combined two trips. So I actually was awarded a scholarship from Pod People. Pod People is a podcast community that I joined a few months ago. And they were having I think they were gonna choose 10 people to attend an event called BLK Pod Fest by the Black Pod Collective, and it just sounded interesting to me. It sounded like a good opportunity. I'm a Black woman, and my show is, mainly towards Black people, Black entrepreneurs. Let's just be honest. And I felt like, no, I need to be in that room. I need to be there and learn as much as I can, especially with the direction that I'm going in. And long story short, I was selected. I applied. I was selected. I think there was 10 of us that were selected, I believe. And so I saw that, okay, I would be in Atlanta. I knew that Birmingham was 2 hours from Atlanta. So it just made sense of, hey, if I'm going to spend this money, because I still had to take care of where I was going to stay and getting there. But if I'm going to do that, how can I get the most out of this trip? So I combined the trip. It was like a Sunday, Sunday to a Monday, because the festival was on the weekend. So it was Saturday and Sunday, all day Saturday and Sunday. And, pretty much I knew I was going to fly back. I flew back today, actually, Monday. So it was an incredible experience. So that's definitely something that I want to do here today in this episode. I really want to share what my experience was. And for those of you who don't know, I've been podcasting for about a year. And I've never been to anything like this. This is very new to me, having community and these events. And I just did not know this was a thing, because when I got into podcasting, it wasn't for that. So it's just those added bonuses of, oh, wow, I can meet people that podcast as well. And we have that commonality. So it's just been like a cherry on top, honestly. And I'm just taking it all in. I'm on the ride, just enjoying it, embracing everything. And it's just amazing. So today, I wanted to share 6 things that I learned from the BLK Pod Festival. But before I get into that, I definitely want to, before I even get into that, uh, no, I'm going to circle back. Sorry, guys. It's something I don't want to forget, but I'm going to write it down so that I don't forget. So I want to share 6 things that I learned from the festival this weekend. But first, I want to just give an overview of just what I thought about the festival, what I go back, did I find it valuable, all those kind of things. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to actually get into my takeaways, like my 6 things that I'm like, whoa, okay, these are going to be things that are top of mind for me for the rest of the year, just from here on forward. So let's go ahead and get into it. So the festival was 2 days. So let's just get into the logistics of it all. It was in Atlanta. I believe they've done a virtual festival before, but this is the first in person one. So I didn't even realize that. So it was cool being a part of that alone. Is, oh, we're the first group to do it in person. So I thought that was pretty cool. Again, the festival was hosted by the Black Pod Collective, and it's a community and home for Black podcasters. So that's their focus, and making sure that we as Black podcasters get the tools and resources that we need, and have community along the way. That's the short version. So I'm like, okay, cool. And I think the founder may live in Atlanta, so maybe that's why I was in Atlanta. But I think it was just a nice kind of place for everyone to meet. And let me tell you, people were there from all over. Just like I came from Houston, there were people from all over, whether it's Detroit, Ohio, California, Florida, anywhere you can think of. I feel like, New York, New Jersey, the DMV, North Carolina, everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. So that was something that was cool. I think it was about 200 attendees. There were sponsors there. So there were podcast sponsors there like Buzzsprout and Squadcast, which was really cool to connect with them. And they also had black owned food trucks. So for lunch, there was a DJ, there was black owned food trucks. And it was really cool just how everything, it was so seamless. Like the decorations, like, I hate to keep sounding like, but everything was on point, which is always cool to see. Especially with it being their first one, I feel like they didn't. I really can't think of anything that was missing, and they had a lineup of speakers. So they had different speakers. They had multiple sessions going on at the same time. So what was really cool about this festival is that they use an app, and I think it's an app that other events, can put their event on. But it was really nice because we were able to really connect before we even got there. So you can message people, see their profiles. So on the profiles, it may have, your LinkedIn, your Instagram, all that good stuff. So you can really get a sense of who's in the room, and your speaker. So it was a way they had polls, surveys, you could chat, you can carpool. It was just, the details were amazing. So that was definitely something that stood out to me. And what else? The speakers were just amazing. They were experts in different kind of things. And it was sessions that touched on everything that you could think of, honestly. They had a session that was all about men podcasters in the mental health space sector, or hey, how to use Pinterest to, and how to integrate that into your podcast, and what Pinterest can do for you. And of course, monetizing, pitching, sponsoring, or gaining sponsors, building community, being authentic. Anything you can think of was covered within those 2 days. So it was just so many options. And in the app, you can choose which session that you would like to go to. So everything was covered. Everything you needed was there. It's really impossible to leave there without learning anything, or taking something away, because it was just, yeah, it's like pick, take your pick. What do you want to learn about? And you just go to that session. So yeah, just wanting to put that out there of just the format of everything. And yeah, it was just incredible. And I met a lot of people, and everyone came there with such good energy. And you can tell that's what we were there for, is to meet, connect, collaborate, all that kind of stuff. So just want to give you all that. And I would definitely go back for sure. Like, I can't wait to go back, kind of thing. So yeah, so I'll, touch on it again throughout. But let's get into the 6 things that I learned from the Black Pod Festival. So one thing that I knew was important, but I attended a few sessions kind of related to this, which is data. Data is king. Leveraging your data, the importance of it. What does that really mean in a podcast space? And something that I want to work on or that I'm taking away is that we know it's important to have data for different reasons, but I think for me it's important because I'm like, do I really know my listeners? It's like you see the numbers, you see the analytics, but you can't find out but so much, right? But I want to know who you are. And please feel free to follow me on Instagram at Diamond Unlimited _ or you could follow Black Directory, BLK Directory. And because we want to hear from you all, because what I learned is that the more data you have, the more we can tailor the show to fit your needs. Like, what are your favorite episodes? What are the episodes you kind of skip over? Do you like episodes where it's really more tactical or steps and how to's and it's like, okay, or is it the inspirational content where you're hearing someone's story and going from there? But it's so important to know who you are, because I want to feel like this show has impact and that I'm connected. So it's not just, oh, I want to know your age. And, that is cool because you know who you're talking to, right? So I think if you are listening to this and you're a podcaster, this is important to help you connect with your audience more, because how can you really, when you don't know who you're talking to, it just doesn't hit the same. And it's just beneficial. And from a monetization standpoint, if you are looking for funding, or say you do want to start incorporating ads into your show, they're going to ask you, okay, do you know who your audience is? And if you can't tell them, yeah, it probably won't go too far. So data is something that they preached over and over again. And it's like, okay, they're not all saying this for no reason. Because you may want to do events or something too. But if you don't know if your audience is, more men than women, vice versa, is it millennials? Is it a different age group? You may think you know who it is, but maybe you don't. So overall, data is important, and that's something that I definitely want to focus on, and just figuring out cool ways to connect with my community, because the more you know, and you can, get your email list together and talk to people, you talk to your listeners, you can really get feedback. More than anything, feedback is everything. And if you're listening, please, 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 I don't know if I really say this, but please leave me a review and rating if you like this show, if it does anything for you, if you feel like it has impact, or you just enjoy it and it's something you look forward to. I would really appreciate a rating and review, because that's going to help the show just reach more people. It's going to help me reach more people. And I want more people to learn about the show. I want to see who else we can help, and just get more ideas and more feedback. So I would really appreciate your 5-star rating and review. And that's on any platform. You may be listening on, Apple or Spotify or something. But at this point, I need to hear from you all. I really want to know who's listening and see how we can start building community, because I don't want this to just be a podcast where, we're kind of connecting, but not, when we could connect even more. And an idea that I had from the conference, I know I'm going on a tangent, I'm going to go back to the list, but an idea that I had that I thought was cool is like, what if we all did a meetup, right, on Zoom? It could be monthly or once a quarter or whatever, but I want to meet you all. So if you like that idea, send me a message. You can send me an email, you can send me a message. All these things will be on the show notes, but I want to make this show better and better and better. So I just wanted to call that out. Another thing that I learned is the importance of building relationships and community. It sounds obvious, but one thing I think we all learned, just some of the people that I met, is that when you're a podcaster, you most likely may be the only podcaster that you know. And it's so easy to feel like you're on an island by yourself. And that's just not true. And that's something that I learned. I mean, even from people giving me this scholarship, and I was able to meet them for the first time because they're mainly in LA, Los Angeles, and New York. But meeting them and realizing, oh wow, I have community, and meeting the other scholars and meeting just other people that were there, and seeing what we had in common, and what happens when you really open yourself up to relationships. And that's the thing, you don't know where a relationship is going to go, but just open yourself up to be social, or just to be open. I think open is the right word. Opening yourself up to be open. You don't know what could come from those conversations. You really don't know. Example, I'm at the conference, I'm at the festival, right? First day, I see Squadcast. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've used Squadcast for so long. They were the first um, recording platform that I used to record. I like that the founders were based in the Bay Area because that's where I was at the time. And I don't know, they were just I don't know, they just had a vibe that I liked. And then I don't know. Anyways, it was cool to meet them, and the founders were there, so it wasn't even like, oh, we're just sending our employees out. They were there. I was able to meet the people that created the platform. So it was just a really cool experience. And what I realized at these events is really easy to keep conversations really short, very light. Nice to meet you. Bye. Let me get the goodies and the t-shirts and the hats and be on my way. But I'm so happy that I took the time to actually talk with them, even if there was awkward pauses, because sometimes you don't know what you like. You may not have a question. You're just kind of conversing. So they were like, "Hey, what's your show about?" And I told them about my show, right? But what I decided to do at this festival that I think was a good idea is don't be afraid to tell people about what else you have going on. Sometimes I could tell people about the podcast, but it's only to my benefit to tell them about the app. But in this case, I mean, I was telling people about the app too, but I decided to tell them, like, yeah, I actually taught a workshop 2 weeks ago that was all about helping people define their niche and identify their target audience for their podcast, because that's where I'm going now, which is teaching people how to launch their own show, right? But it took a lot of, I don't know if courage is the right word, but you have that hesitation sometime of like, do I want to mention that? Maybe have I done it enough to be mentioning that? And I am so happy that I did, because once I was able to tell them, hey, I hosted a workshop, and I was able to clearly articulate what I taught, like what the workshop was about, um, they were like, you know what? That's really cool. I'm happy you said that. We're actually, I don't know if they're launching it or already doing it, but they were like, "Hey, we bring in someone once a month to teach a different thing. A podcaster once a month to lead a workshop or teach." And they were like, "That sounds like something that we would like to collaborate with you on." And just like that, that was I was already that I just got there. I just got there. And I don't know. Long story short is be open. When you meet people, be open. Tell them you have a podcast. If you have an award-winning podcast, any kind of cool things that have happened, share that. Even if you've done something for the first time, even if, hey, I just reached my 100th episode or 100th download, I reached 1,000 downloads. Like, it's okay to share those things. You never know what people are thinking, or maybe they want to pour into you. You just don't know. And then, of course, the flip side to that is at this festival, there were so many people that were like, hey, what your show is about aligns with my show is about, or I think they will complement each other. Let's uh, cross promote each other's shows, or do an episode and we both put it on our show and collaborate. Or it was just beautiful. It was really beautiful. So I feel like I left the conference seeing the full picture of relationships, whether it's someone, of course, someone that you don't know, but telling them more about what you have going on so that they can find a commonality there. Um, and if you are talking to someone or a company that you think you could benefit from, what is it? Closed mouths don't get fed. Like, you really do have to get comfortable. Even if you're not comfortable, it's just practice is what I'm realizing. Like, the more I introduce myself, it's going to get easier, to tell people about what I'm doing and what I have going on. But people can't read your mind. They don't know what you have going on. Or even if maybe you're working on something, maybe you haven't launched it, but like, hey, I'm working on this thing. I'm super excited about it. That's what I'm going to be working on for the next 3 months. You don't know who wants to help you or join you or support you. So, yeah, I definitely left there just seeing like, wow, I can no longer be just solo because I am a solopreneur and a solo host, which is, cool, but it's okay to build your network. It's just necessary. It's really necessary. So, and you never know who can teach you something or show you something, or even at the table during the breaks, we were just exchanging resources of, oh, what hosting platform do you use? What microphone do you use? What do you do for this? What have you done in these scenarios? So it's just so valuable, but you can't get to that part unless you open yourself up for those things. Have you always wanted to create a podcast but don't know where to start? Do you already have a podcast but you're not sure if you built and launched it in the right way? No worries. Check out my ebook guide, How to Launch a Podcast in 30 Days. In this ebook, you will learn how to create and launch your podcast confidently. I created and launched the Black Directory podcast within a month, and I received over 300 downloads within my first 60 days of launching. Incredible, right? In this podcast ebook, I'll teach you how to define your niche, identify your audience, purchase equipment on a budget, find the perfect guest for your show, and market your podcast before you even launch. No more standing on the sidelines because it's your turn to have a game-changing podcast. Get this course while it's on sale, and I can't wait to hear your new podcast show. For more information, visit diamondunlimited.co or check out the show notes. So stay sharp and stay ready. Stay sharp and stay ready. What's that guy's? I think his name is Darrell. Where the money resides, where the money resides. It is literally what is going on out here. If you're not on your A game, oh my gosh, you really don't know who you're talking to sometimes. And that's something that I definitely saw um, at the festival. The speakers and the participants, we had the same kind of lanyard. Like you really didn't know who was a speaker, and you're just talking to them, and it's just important when someone asks you, what is your show about? What is your show about? You really need to be able to say that really quickly, um, in a concise way, in a brief way, um, especially when you're at something like that and everyone's meeting so many people. It's like, and basically when you say what your show is about, it's gonna be very evident of, do you know your like audience, and that's just something so important. So that's something that was talked about during a lot of our sessions, um, especially it was a session on sponsorship. It was just it was it was incredible. I'm like, I can't find the words. It was incredible, and they really broke down how to pitch to companies and brands and how to get these deals and what they're looking for. Like really telling us, okay, this is what we're looking for, and this is how we need you to come. And they're not playing because they may get pitched to all the time. And if you can't just say what you're about and what you have going on and who your audience is, emphasis on the audience, because if you want to be where the money resides, say you're like, oh wow, I really want to work with this company, etc. They're gonna want to know, okay, what's in it for us? Who's your audience? What is your show about? And you need to be able to articulate, and not in a long-winded way, because some people may not have the time. And even in an email, say you're not talking to them, but you're trying to shoot your shot through DM or email. They're not reading some long thing. And of course, you have slide decks because they talked about that too. The importance of having your slide deck and of course, customizing that depending on who you're talking to. But the first thing you're gonna include in that is your overview. What is your show about? Who is it for? If you can't answer that, that's something that they were drilling down. Like, you need to figure that out. You need to go work on that because you're gonna be asked. So you may as well get comfortable with that. So you may meet someone in person and it's happening like that, or it may happen to where you haven't met them, but you really want to get their attention and try to get some funding for your show. And it's just something that you need to be prepared. You need to know who you are as a host, who do you serve, what is your show about. And like I said before, that data is going to help fill in that because they really need to know those demographics. And they feel like if you don't know your audience, we're not going to do the work for you. Like, we're going to go with someone that is so clear on their show and who their audience is. They want to know how, like, what is your what's your stats on your monthly listeners versus your weekly listeners? What's the demographic? What's the age? Do they have buying power? What are their interests? Are they parents? And some of this stuff, you're just like me. I'm like, how are we supposed to figure out some of this stuff? Because some of those analytics we can't see on these podcasting sites, right? We can only see but so much. And of course, they were teaching us to leverage our social media insights, especially if your podcast has its own page, and surveys, surveys. So really talking to your audience. So that's just something that I learned. I learned that, and besides that, just in general, there's a lot of money out here. I didn't realize there were grants. It's not a lot, but there are grant opportunities for podcasters. That was something that I did not know. Like, what? Grants? Okay, that's cool. And let me I'm looking through my notes now. Of course you have sponsorships, right? And you can sign to networks, and it's just so many ways. And of course you have things on your own, right? You may not be signed to anyone, but merch, right? You can create your own merch. Live events. That's a cool way to create some revenue for yourself as well. So there's quite a few ways. There's quite a few ways to make money, but either way, especially if it's another person involved, you need to be able to know what your show's about and who you serve. That way, if you're going towards the partnership route or brand deals and signing to a network, possibly, yeah, they need to know that you know your stuff. So that was something that I thought was very interesting. And it made sense to me. Like, it made sense, but I definitely took it in. Another thing I learned, what is this? One, two, three. The fourth thing that I learned is to stay authentic. And that goes with the speakers really shedding light to what's on the other side of being signed to a network or having some type of deal. And they were saying people, they're looking at the money, but not realizing the stakes are higher once people have you signing a contract. You can't skip an episode or disappear or, hey, I'm going to do it in a few weeks. They're going to that contract is going to be dissolved. And if you can't convert, right, which is why you need to know your audience. If you can't convert and people don't really trust you, like they're not connected to you like that to buy whatever you're selling, then they're going to cancel those deals. But the reason why I'm saying this is because what they were trying to point out is make sure that you're yourself and you're authentic, because it's easy for people to just take the money just because, right? You're not even thinking about your audience best interest. You're just like, oh, they're offering me some money. Bet. They're offering me some money. Great. Okay. Not thinking about what's going to really truly be the value to my audience. What is my audience going to, you want your audience to feel like, you know what, I trust Diamond, and I know if she's putting anything on this show, she uses that product or that thing, or she's vouching for that. And there's trust there. That's so important, but you can lose yourself within it. And that's just super important, right? So you just want whatever you're doing to be worth it, but it's worth it if you were yourself and you were being authentic. Yeah, authentic and true to yourself, and being honest with yourself about that. That way you're not just trying on all these masks and you're just going through all these changes. And after a while, you don't know what's going on, because what they were saying is these networks and these big companies, they're going to have ideas for you. They're going to try to push you in certain directions that you may not want to go. And that's something that you really have to think about. So I just wanted to say that if you are thinking about starting a show or you have a show, be authentic, because that's going to be the easiest route for you versus you're trying to do what's popping and what's hot, and you're just losing yourself. You're not staying true to yourself because you'll pay the price for it later, in my opinion. So stay authentic. That's definitely one thing. Um, and the fifth thing is don't play it small. Don't play it small. Don't play it small. And what I'm thinking with that, just based on what I've kind of been internalizing and observing and consuming with this conference, is you have to get out there and give it your all. That's from a marketing standpoint and also from a content standpoint. I've seen it with myself. It's so easy to get comfortable with what your show is already about or staying in your comfort zone with things. Of like, well, I'm not going to, I'm just going to keep it here. This is what I know. But it's like, are you challenging yourself? Are you trying different formats? Are you trying storytelling? Are you trying different lengths of the episodes? Are you just trying something new? And it's just important to not play it small because you never know what change you can make that will have the biggest impact, right? And also, it'll just stretch you and it'll grow you as a creator, as a podcast host, and make you just well rounded overall. So, just not playing it small. And then, from a marketing standpoint, something that I already knew, but it was just good to hear again. Um, we're just in a place where video is important. So, could you record your podcast on video too and put it on YouTube? And for people that may not really be avid podcast listeners, they may go watch it on YouTube though, like they may do that. So it's just not playing it small, not playing it safe, but being open to how can I maximize? How can I reach more people, right? That's ultimately the goal. I want to reach more people, have more impact. And am I playing it small? Even on social media, I think we kind of know what it takes, right? As far as reaching people, we know Reels and TikToks are where it's at, short form videos, YouTube shorts, all that kind of stuff. And it's so easy to feel like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to look stupid. I don't know. It's a lot of work, but it's going to take practice. It's going to take practice and creating new norms for yourself and being disciplined. So I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but how far do you think you're going to get from playing it small? I really want everyone to think about that. Like, how far can I get? Because I can tell you, it's so easy to just do what you've always done. I do it all the time. Where it's like, Diamond, you could do better. You're falling off. Things are slipping. And how can I tighten up? Because you have to think about what your goals are, because that's what's going to keep you really grounded in this thing, because momentum is going to come and go. It's going to come and go. So don't play it small. And for those of you who maybe you haven't launched a show, do it. Do it. You have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. I think something that's been very rewarding for me recently is I've been looking at my analytics, and I'm starting to have a lot of people from the UK listening, and it's so cool. Like, people are listening in over 6 countries, and it's like, what the heck? Like, how are they finding my show? This is so cool. That's what's keeping me going. But imagine if I didn't launch the show. Even if it's one person in Spain or Germany or wherever, it's like the coolest thing to know that the reach is expanding. But I couldn't get there unless I decided to get started. Like, that's where a lot of us get stuck, is just getting started, right? Or if you've gotten started, it's sticking in what you know. It's like, okay, this works. Hey, I'm not trying to rock the boat. Like, let's just keep this going. But it's like, we can't grow from that kind of space. We can't grow from keeping things the same as they've always been. So definitely wanted to share that. Don't play it small. And lastly, there's power in numbers and collaboration. So again, this goes to that community piece. It's just amazing what happens when you put everyone in a room together. it amplifies. Everything just grows and expands, and so much knowledge is being shared, and it just gives everyone an opportunity to really come together of like, how can I help you? How, what do you need help with? How can I pour into you? Or someone, just it's just room for that. It brings the dialogue for those things. And it just shows you the power in numbers. It shows you the power in numbers, and we can't sleep on that. We can't take that for granted. Just being intentional, right? Like, if you know you're going to be at an event, right, and there's 200 people there, imagine how you can grow from that as far as just telling people your social media or, hey, I have this show, and everyone's numbers is going up because everyone wants to support and see what people have going on. And there's just so much power in that. And there's power in collaboration. Like, hey, we have a similar audience. What can we do together? And I think that's what's so cool, especially with Black people, just being open to working together, because I do think historically there was a lot of not wanting to work together sometimes, or who's going to steal my idea. I don't know if I could trust this person. And some people have a right to have trust issues. So I'm not saying like, oh my gosh, you're crazy. But it's just one of those things where eventually you have to have faith in what you have going on. Of course, protect yourself in any kind of way. Say if you want to do a project with someone, drop some contracts or some guidelines. But we can go farther together. It's just the truth. It's just the truth. And I think that for me, this event has opened my eyes to, oh, wow, there's room for me to really collaborate in some cool ways that I never thought of. I'm not on an island by myself. I have community, and that's what's so important. So, overall, I wanted to share this all with you. The event was amazing. I can't wait to go back. I see the importance, not just hear the importance, but I was able to see, oh, wow, this is what a community looks like. I feel like I've made lifelong friends over the last 2 days. We already have a group chat. We're just looking to support each other. And it was cool because some of them live in Houston, so I can actually keep up with them in person. But the support was great. The love was great. Um, the content and information was worth probably $1 million. It was certain things that speakers, they were dropping some gems, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is crazy. So I would encourage everyone to look into a community for themselves. I think we all need community. This is my first time as an adult feeling like, oh wow, I think this is for me. Finding something for me and that I can grow within and want to grow within. And it's just a beautiful experience. So final words is, get on the plane, buy the ticket, get on Eventbrite. Like, anything that you're thinking about, just go for it. Figure it out later. I went there by myself. I know that's something for people of like, oh, I'm by myself. I don't know. I'm not going to know anyone. It was so many people there by themselves. Like, it did not even matter when it came down to it. And just getting outside of your comfort zone, because that's where you're going to find real success and longevity and happiness and all that good stuff, and learn a lot about yourself. Be willing to grow, be willing to tell your story and be authentic with that. Even if people aren't on your wave yet, because I know that's a big thing, is feeling like no one's listening to me. Does anyone hear me? What's the point of this show? I've been there. I felt that on some days where I'm like, I don't know if this is, I don't know, and I think it's important to ride the wave. Even if you have one person tuning in, hey, that's cool. You're reaching somebody. So, but we have to be willing to not play it small and market our show. We should not be afraid or hesitant to tell people about what we got going on. Even if it's every week I'm promoting my new episode, you never know who's seeing that for the first time. We don't know. So I just, oh my gosh, I'm just still on a high. I learned so much. I just wanted to share that with you all. I would recommend that you check out specifically that group, Black Pod Collective. Feel free to check out my stuff, which I'll leave in the show notes. I'm going to be doing more workshops. I have some products as far as how to launch your podcast in 30 days because that was my experience. So I just want to share that with people that are more like, okay, I'm ready. I want to do it. But I also have one-on-one too. So that's what I'm about right now. I feel like I'm finding my purpose, and it's very beautiful and exciting because I didn't know that was going to happen through creating my show. But I like meeting people. I want to help people realize that your voice matters too. So we're going to, from start to finish, we're going to get you to launch, right? So I hope you all enjoyed the show. Again, please, please, please leave a rating and review. That's something that I feel like I'm missing. Like I may get feedback in other ways, but I don't have the feedback on the actual platforms like Spotify, Apple, all that stuff. So if you have some time, please do that. If you're on the app side, I need reviews for that too. So that's what helps me know, is everything good? I need to hear from y'all so I know what I can work on and improve on, or what's working well. So that's something that over the next few weeks I'm going to be pushing. It's just to hear from you all. I want to know who you are, where you're from, what you enjoy, what you want to see. So again, I'm going to leave some things in the show notes. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Thank you for spending some time with us. Enjoying the show? Be sure to subscribe and leave us a rating and review. Interested in connecting with Black-owned businesses and joining the family? We got you covered. Download Black Directory in both the iOS and Android app stores. Until next time.